Hello everyone. Let's talk about a very common real world issue in the microservices. The service is deployed successfully, but traffic is not reaching it, and how we can check it. So deployment says success, pods are running, no clear errors, but still there is no traffic. And here is the most important thing. You debug this step by step, and when traffic does not reach a service, the problem is almost always in one of a few layers. So first, think in layers. When a request goes from client to your service, it passes through multiple layers. And if a traffic is not reaching, the issue is usually in one of these: the service itself, or the health check, or the service health, service discovery, routing or load balancing, network or security, or there can be the configuration issue also. And here is the rule: basically start from the outside and then move inward. Think like the client, follow the request path step by step, and if you jump directly into application logs without checking whether traffic even arrives, you waste time. So first one is to check is the service actually running and ready. So first check the basics. Just because a pod says running does not mean it is ready to serve the traffic. So to check, you have to check pod or container status, and restart count, startup logs, readiness check, health endpoint like health. Very common problems are like app crashes after startup, but container says it is alive, and app is listening on the wrong port. Health endpoint is misconfigured. Application is still starting but marked as not ready. Here is something important which you have to do. If readiness fails, the platform will stop sending traffic on purpose. So the service will look alive, but it will get zero request. Next one is your service discoverable? So let's say the service is healthy, but the question is like, can other service find it? So to check that, you have to check service name spelling, correct environment like dev, staging, prod, namespace issue, registration logs, and number of registered instances. Because a small mistake can cause the big problems like case mismatch in service name, or wrong environment, service registered before it was fully ready. So if the client cannot resolve your service name, traffic will never reach it, even if everything else is perfect. Next one is your routing configured correctly? So you have now assume your service is healthy and it is registered and still no traffic. So the next layer is routing. So check whether your load balancer configuration, target group, ingress rules, host rule, path rules, or port mapping. Because the very common issues are like load balancer pointing to the wrong port, or there can be a wrong path prefix. Host rule is not matching. Target group has zero healthy instances. From the outside, it looks like the service is down, but inside it is just unreachable. Next, you have to check is the health check, or it is blocking the traffic. So load balancer send traffic only to healthy instances, and if health checks are wrong, traffic is silently blocked. So check is the health check path correct or not, and does health endpoint require any authentication, or there is any timeout reasonable, or it is hitting the correct port or not. Because a mistake like a health endpoint accidentally secured with authentication, then what will happen? Health check will fail, traffic is never routed to the service, and load balancer will mark instances unhealthy. So everything looks fine, but nothing will reach to the service. Next one is your network or security blocking it? So if everything looks above till the above step, previous step looks correct, check the network layer. Look at the firewall rules, security groups, network policies, ingress or egress rules. So example is like service works internally between pods, but external traffic is blocked at the firewall, or service cannot reach a dependency during startup because outbound traffic is blocked. So network issues are very common, and it is very invisible until you will check them directly. Next one is your client calling the right endpoint? So sometimes the service is perfectly fine. The problem is with the client, and client configuration, environment variables, DNS resolution, or the cached URLs, hard-coded endpoints. So I have seen clients like pointing to old versions, calling a staging or staging instead of production, using outdated paths, or maybe guessing the old IP addresses. So never assume the client is correct. Always verify. So this should be the debugging flow. Just check if the service is up and running, it is healthy, and it is discoverable, and it is routing correctly or not, and network is open or not, and client is calling the correct or right place or not. So these steps will remove the guesswork, and you can, if you will follow this strategy, you can always find the issue and the root cause for the why this traffic is not reaching to the service. Now there can be the follow-up questions for this. So if the pod is running, why there is no traffic? So the answer can be because running only does not mean the container did not crash. It does not mean like pod is healthy or pod is discoverable, reachable, properly routed. Running is just one step. So why are health checks so important? Next question is why the health checks are so important? Because they control whether traffic is sent or not, auto scaling decisions, replacement of instances, and if health checks are wrong, the system makes wrong decisions automatically, and which is not good for a reliable system. Next follow-up question can be why not just restart the system? So restarting may temporarily sometime fix the issue, but it will hide the root cause. So instead of that, always check the logs, test health endpoint manually, validate routing, and check load balancer targets. Try calling from inside to outside, and always understand the failure. Next follow-up question can be what is the most common silent issue? That is a port mismatch. So for example, application is listening to 8080 and container exposes 8081. So service forwards to 80, but load balancer will route to the 443. One mismatch in this chain will cause the traffic disappear from the service. So ports are very common hidden problem. Next follow-up question can be how do we prevent this? So prevention is better than debugging. I always recommend automated smoke tests right after the deployment, standard health check format across services, monitoring service registration, alerts when traffic suddenly drops to zero, and deployment validation checks. So if your system automatically verifies routing after deploy, users will never see the issue. So when traffic does not reach a service, it is usually not a code problem, it is a configuration problem. So that was all for this video. I hope you understood or you got something from this. If you find it useful, just provide your comment, suggestion, and do like, comment, share to this channel so I can keep on creating more such type of videos. Thanks for watching.